Hi everyone, welcome back. This video is going to be a little bit different because I actually already recorded this and my new document camera kind of deleted the file. So my pages are already completely filled out, so we're just going to kind of work it through the best we can. So we're still in Module 2, Topic 2. We are in Lesson 1. We're on Activity 2, page 261. So it asks us, we're just going to read the top. At first, it says, recall that a percent is a special part to whole ratio with a whole of 100. You can also think of a percent as a fraction in which the denominator is 100. You can use percents, fractions, and decimals interchangeably. Take note, the percent symbol, percent sign there, means per 100 or out of 100. Highlight, circle, underline, star that, whatever you need to kind of point it out to yourself there. Worked example, you can write 15 out of 100 as the fraction 15 over 100. Remember, we talked about those being ratios, and that's one way you can write a ratio is in fractional form, 15 out of 100. Because percent means out of 100, you can also write it as 15%. Number 1 says express each fraction in the survey as a percent in the last column of the table, which we've already done that. Okay, we went through and did that already. Okay, down here, write a survey of the results of the student survey using percents. So notice I have the word test written on here. This is on the test. Very much in this form. So as we went back here and then looked at this survey, if I looked at the first one, 35 of the students chose the Liberty Bell, I can say 35 out of 100 students chose the Liberty Bell, so 35% chose the Liberty Bell. That is how I'd like you to write that. Let me get rid of this slate here. Let's see if we can get that one in better. Okay. Pause when you need to there. Continuing on in the same manner, 22 out of 100 chose Independence Hall, so 22% chose Independence Hall. Again, please pause. No students chose Reading Terminal Market, so 0% chose Reading Terminal Market. This part here goes with the next one. So no students chose Reading Terminal Market, so 0% chose RTM, Reading Terminal Market. Lastly, it says all of the students planned on going on the trip, so 100% of the students planned on the trip. So that's a lot of writing. Please pause and get that written down, and then come back to the video, please. Okay, so next it says, compare the percents and decimals you wrote in the table to determine a pattern. Use this pattern to write a rule, and you can use to write any decimal as a percent and any percent as a decimal. Think about it. A percent tells how many hundredths. 15 over 100 is the same as 15 hundredths and 15%. So we want to go back here then and look at our table and say, well, how did we go from decimal to percent? Well, to do that, to go from here to here, we multiply by 100. So 0.35 times 100 is 35%. 0.22 times 100, 22%, and so on. It even works for the 0 that we had none of the students choosing Reading Terminal Market. 0 times 100 is still 0. It also works for all of the kids, 100 out of 100, which we wrote as 1.0, because 100 over 100 is the same as 1. If we did 1 times 100, we get 100%. So how can we kind of write a rule for that? We can say, to write a decimal as a percent, multiply the decimal by 100 or move the decimal 2 places to the right. Let's see if I can zoom in some and maybe move it over. To write a decimal as a percent, multiply the decimal by 100 or move the decimal 2 places to the right. And then conversely, or in an opposite fashion, to go from percent to decimal, so to go this way, we would do divide by 100, or we would go decimal point moving 2 to the left. Because right now it's here. If I'm going from percent to decimal, I would have to move it 2 to the left. So you can write that, as I've done here in the purple. To write a percent as a decimal, divide the percent by 100, or move the decimal 2 places to the left. Okay, go ahead and pause so that you can get that filled out. Okay, so I'm kind of improvising here since I've already filled out this page and my new document camera didn't work correctly. We're on page 262. And it says, write each number as a percent. So I just kind of jotted down a note here just to remind us that a decimal to a percent, we're going to multiply by 100 or move the decimal 2 places to the right. So that's literally all we're going to do here each time. Is we can either just do times 100 or move the decimal point 2 to the right. So 1, 2, we end up with the number 32%. 700ths, move it 1, 2, decimal point is there, we have 7%, because remember this is the same as 32 out of 100, which we did previously, right in the very beginning of this unit, as 3200ths as 32%. 700ths is what that says, or 7%. So keeping with that, move 2 places to the right, so we have 73.81%. Please pause and finish these, and then come back and double check your answers. Okay, 2 to the right, so we have 152%. 2 to the right, 1, 2, so that'll be 40%. And then 4, there's a decimal point here. Remember, when it's a whole number, the decimal point's at the end. So 2 to the right, it's going to put it here, fill in some zeros, so we have 400%. And it does make sense because 4 times 100 is in fact the 400. Okay. Alright, so then, number 5, we are going percent to decimal. So remember when we were doing percent to decimal, so percent to decimal, we're going to divide by 100 or move the decimal 2 to the left. Okay, so in 47%, our decimal point is at the end of the 7, so 2 to the left gives us 0.47. The number 3, the decimal point is at the end. 2 to the left, we will have 0.03. Let me just point out 47%. Remember we said it is 47 out of 100 for a percent. 47 hundredths is written that way. Not a real big fan of this document camera, I don't think. It's kind of hard to see that. Okay, so 3%, which means 3 out of 100, which is 3 hundredths. Okay, keeping with our pattern and our rule, move to the 2 to the left, so we have 125 thousandths. Right now our decimal point's at the end. 2 to the left is going to put it between the 1 and the 2. 80%, it's at the end, moving it 2. We will have 0.8 or 0.8. And 0.5%, yes, you can have, like this one and this one, you can have decimals within your percent. So if I move it 2 to the left, 1, 2, so it's going to be 0.005. You can put a leading 0 there if you so choose. Okay, I'm going to pause for a moment until I get the next part rewritten. Okay, here we go again. Alright, so the rest of this page says, I'm just going to kind of cover up my work here. You can use different methods to write a fraction as a percent. When the denominator of a fraction is a factor of 100, scale up the fraction to write it as a percent. When the denominator is not a factor of 100, you can divide the numerator by the denominator to write the fraction as a decimal, which you can then write as a percent. So let's take a look at these. So 6a says 4/5. We can easily scale that up to 100. We would do a times 20, so a times 20 gives us 80 over 100, which we can then write as a percent, which is 80%. Okay, 3/10. Tenths easily scales up to 100. We're doing a times 10 times 10. So that would be 30 out of 100, which is 30%. I want to skip C. I'm going to come back to it. Letter D, we can scale up to 100. We would be multiplying by 50. 3 times 50, 150. So how do I write 150 over 100 as a percent though? And we had that previously. It is a little bit different, so let's just take a look at it. Remember that 150 over 100 is really a division. 150 divided by 100 is 1.5. Will that focus? There we go. So 150 divided by 100 is 1.5. So that is 1.5%. The other way you can think about it is we're moving the decimal 2 places to the left, which is going to put it right there. Okay, dividing by the 100 is the same as moving it 2 to the left. Okay, so 3/8. So this, the directions here said when the denominator is not a factor of 100, you can divide the numerator by the denominator to write the fraction as a decimal, which you can then write as a percent. So 3/8. So let's do that division. So we're going to have 3 divided by 8, which is 0.375. And then remember, when we're turning a decimal into a percent, we move the decimal point 2 places to the right. So we're ending up with 37.5%. Okay, make sure you check in with me. Let me know if there's anything that you are not understanding.